Hi, how are you? I know I was just telling Cynthia I didn't have lunch today even, like no, not even a minute break. It was a crazy day and weekend. I was in conference at Anaheim for the whole like Thursday. I did the class from there, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I didn't have even a weekend. So I'm like that tired, but it's okay. We're almost done with this semester. Um,
Yeah. Oh, sorry, Luis. I saw you on mute.
No, I'm just going to be unmuted because I'm driving. So I'll just jump in whenever.
okay.
Okay. I could take lead just to get us going because I'll leave at 6:30 as well. My staff member switched the program from 6 to 7, which is I'm still wearing my polo. So I'll be done like at 8 today. But I think we had intended to use this meeting. We had like a couple action items to do by the meeting. Um, I know Ernest and Salpi all got assigned page 5 of the data, and then me and Luis put ourselves for the qualitative. And I think we were gonna briefly go over those, but not take too much time because their notes are on the doc. But I think this would be a good meeting to kind of just talk about the deliverables and like action and kind of assign tasks to each other, since I think all of us are really busy, and I feel like it was even hard to schedule this meeting. So I think that I think the rest of our time might be asynchronous unless we meet one more time before we have to present to kind of just be on the same page for our presentation. But wanted to kind of pitch that and we could just kind of assign tasks and delegate tasks
Mhm.
so that we can get the assignment done. Because I know for me, I think all of us still have like the 702 paper due. 703, sorry. Sorry, I think my staff is calling me. That's what- Sorry. 703 paper is due this Sunday. So I know that's also gonna be taking my priority as well.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure I know what I'm doing so that I prioritize that and do what I have to do on my end.
Appreciate that. Yeah, I agree that I think we could do all of this asynchronous. I do think maybe just like another touch point to review our presentation, just so like we know who's doing what. But yeah, otherwise, yeah.
Cool. Any feedback from anyone else in the space?
No, so that
Okay.
sounds good. Yeah.
Okay. So I know we have to do a Ernest, were you gonna say something? Oh, yeah, no worries. So I know we have to do a two-page like written handout. She said it could be any format. Does anyone here have any ideas of how or what we're gonna do like the format in? Like, were we thinking just like a Google Doc with like segments? Are people here in the space more inclined to be more creative with Canva?
Well, I like what just to volunteer someone. I love what Ernest does with his what is it, Notebook LM, all his like visuals and stuff. So if that is something that people are excited about, or I don't want to just like put you like that, but I love those, and it would just be a matter of us synthesizing what we believe to be what is it? I forget how many we have to come up with. Is it 6 to 8? What I forget.
Yeah, it's 6 to 8 clear, actionable recommendations for practice to support both the learning and motivation of students, as
Yep.
well as building the capacity for staff.
I like yes. I think just doing reading through the case study. I wrote a whole bunch of notes, and then I did like my recommendations for it. I haven't looked at anybody else's stuff because I had to go be in a district right now. But I feel like if there's some common themes and approaches that we want to take, I think that could be turned into a Notebook LM type of looking visual. I think that would be ideal, and it would save time. Yeah, I'm seeing the
Okay.
thumbs up.
Yeah.
I'm seeing Ernest thumbs up. I don't want to volunteer you. I know it's not within my capacity to do something really creative. But do you feel like that's something that maybe you could take on, Ernest? But it's okay if you say no, but just want to double make sure. Mm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And again, the only reason I even suggested is because I've seen Ernest do it in real time, so I know how long it's taken him. And I also included references in my notes in the section, the last tab. Like I have all the three references that I pulled everything from, including page numbers, if necessary. So like mine are ready to pull.
Yeah, mine as well. I also put my notes and I also put the reference right under like what I said. I know for me, Luis, I didn't see this on yours, so maybe correct me if I'm wrong. Did you put specific like recommendations?
Yeah, I put it in my. I forget how it might be whatever the last tab is. I
Yeah,
forget.
Issue
yeah.
solutions.
Is it
Yeah, yeah,
solutions? Is that what it is? Okay.
yeah. And again, I was very trying to be light about it because we all haven't talked, so I didn't want to go like super deep into it. But I was like, here's something that I think based on what I saw.
Yeah. Um, I also wrote takeaways. More, I did mine more bullet point-ish. Cause similar to you, I'm not saying like this is the way we should do it, but I was like, this is maybe these might be some like good starting points to talk about
Yep.
with like recommendations. Um,
Is yours the last one, Cynthia?
yeah, and this on the very last page, I just put like recommendations and I just put bullet points.
Okay. Okay,
Um,
so we can add like to this document, like just like have let's have like due dates by what day do you think like we can all add to this document? Uh, I can
by
do it
adding,
by Sunday.
sorry, I just want to clarify. What do you
Uh,
mean by adding? Because me and Luis already added. Do you mean like add
yeah,
what?
I will add my part, but I can add that one by, let me see, tomorrow. Tomorrow, 7 p.m. I can add the my part of this onto this document.
Cool.
So I think for next steps, are we talking, should we take like the next 10 minutes or so to kind of write down like our recommendations so that it's easier for Ernest to put them in to the notebook LM? Should we talk about them right now? Is
Yeah, sure. I think that'd
that
be
what we
great.
should do? Okay,
Yeah,
so
I agree.
I'm just gonna go all the way to the very bottom and just put like starting from like I'm just gonna put like one I'm just gonna go to the very last page.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put recommendations for handout.
Or do you want to add a new tab?
I can add a new tab as well. Yes,
Yeah,
might be
so
easier.
that everybody, if Salvi's going to add her part, she could just stay on the what tab 3 or
Okay.
whatever.
Yeah. Let me add a new tab here. Okay, add a new tab, and the tab is called recommendations for handout. We'll start with one.
Cynthia, I haven't had a chance to read through your stuff. So if you want to start, and then I can kind of like recall mine.
Yeah, yeah, sure, I can go. Um, I think we have very similar like takeaways. Like students are doing their work, but they're not fully understanding what they're doing. Um, AI use ensures that the tasks are completed, but again, we don't know what students are actually learning. And then students and faculty don't really know how to use AI properly. Like there's no clear guidance or there's no aligned practices. That's what I got from like the data. For recommendations, I put Um, I connected my recommendations to certain frameworks. So, for
Yep.
example, I put like teach students how to use AI strategically and as a tool, not as a replacement for thinking. So, like, also like be mindful of like don't not to say don't use AI, but instead like maybe try this first and then use AI. Like setting specific goals for students, and then I connected that to um Dembo and Eden, like when they talked about self-efficacy and kind of like their confidence in completing tasks.
Yeah.
Um, one thing that I put more, and we talked about it, I think during class last time, was shifting the priority from completing tasks to more like reflections or
Yep.
creative projects so that it can help students engage with material more meaningfully. And then lastly, I connected collective efficacy with faculty and staff training and AI integration. Also ensuring that there's time and resource for faculty and staff, not just like just one-time training, but like ongoing training. And that there's resource allocated for the training. And I connected that to the Don't Know Who article, and I put down my references. But I feel like I'm like taking up a lot of the space, so I'm gonna pause. But those are like my main kind of recommendations. And to your direction, Luis, I also put the references. I'll
Thank you
pause
for
there.
that, Cynthia. I'll pick it up there because I think, like you said, we have very similar approaches to this. I'll focus on the educator space in the survey results. It's very clear that the educators, whether it's K-12 or higher ed, believe that I has a use, right, for student engagement and support, but it's very clear in the data that they don't know how to use it or integrate it into their lesson planning or how they develop their, how to use it for the purposes of their students. So to my end, and then like if I look at how comfortable leaders are in that space, it looks like the leaders also very comfortable or have very high level of comfort. So this is where I think my proposal comes into place. It's like staff just needs a little bit more training on how to integrate some of these strategies. My leverage point, right? Because not always do we want to do what is told to us, but through the lens of IEPs and 504s and neurodiversity in the higher ed, like those are written plans that have to be followed by law. And that could be the entry point as to why someone has to change their practice, because you can see that 504 plans and IEPs and neurodiversity in higher ed students, they're using it, right? They're the ones who are saying, I use these for these reasons. So instead of just being like, we can do whatever, no, use it for the purpose of meeting the needs of these kids who they have a 30%, 30% of their, I believe, represents 30% of their entire population. So I think, and then I think I said it's something like a multi-year approach, meaning like we have to switch from being doers to learners. And so we have to learn how to integrate AI into our practice. But what better lever than to use like IEPs and 504s and neurodiversity as our lever to get people to try some of these out. So that's like just the staff component. But I think, Cynthia, you brought up something really interesting. Meanwhile, as staff is learning, I think the advisors, I didn't write this down, but like the advisors, there's a lot of advisors at the higher ed level. Like if you saw in my notes, it's almost half of their entire higher ed population are some sort of advisee or support role. And so that could support advising and supporting strategies and structures for students, right? Like what, from the perspective of what can students do, right? Back to what Cynthia said, how could they be used? How could they have their own efficacy specifically around how they use AI? So it's like guidance for staff and guidance for students, I think is what I think I want to head towards in this, just to like delineate through a kind of a process of learning that is headed by leadership and whatever. So I'll stop there because that was a lot of information, but I think those are the two general ideas that I have. And I think I wrote some of that out in my recommendation.
Thank you, Luis. One second. Yeah, you come up. Thank you for sharing, Luis. Sorry, my son just got home. Um, Ernest, Alpi, do y'all want to add anything? I was scribing, Luis, as you were saying. I know you added stuff on your tab. I think it's just putting that into like the
I'm
sixth
adding
thing.
mine now. I had some bullet points. I'm just like trying to add to it and add it to the document. Basically, like mostly whatever you and Chris said, sorry, Luis said, I will just add it 1 second. And then I will. Do you want me to add to the recommendations or to the issues and solutions that you added to?
I think it depends on what you want to paste. Like if you're just pasting
Oh,
notes, then I
yeah,
wouldn't
it's
put
just
it in the
no.
recommendations for the handout.
Yeah, it's just no.
Um, if they're just notes, then yeah, I think that's where we kind of there was a designated space for kind of taking down notes. I think I added this tab to kind of
Yeah.
uh do the actual recommendations. I think me and Luis put some,
Uh-huh.
but I think that would probably be like the next kind of step for you. I think it
Yeah.
would be to create some sort of recommendations, at least two.
Yeah.
Ernest, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Mm. Great. So I added a couple of my notes to the document, the one that the tab that you said. I will just add the readings as well. Yeah. Mhm. Sounds good.
It sounds good. And yeah, I think I appreciate everyone's input. I think what's up with your notes. I'll read yours too, but as a first glance, it's kind of hard to read. Are these all recommendations, or what are these that
Yeah,
like all the
those are
bullet
like the
points?
bullet points. I had it in my notes, so I just did it as like full sentence recommendation. So I have 6 on that document now. I will put it as like I will put my recommendations and then we can go and like as Ernest said, we can just like add all of us together. So those are the top ones are the notes.
Your
And
notes,
the
okay, and then the
recommendations.
bottom are the reflections. Okay, I would just say if we could just continue to add page numbers and references,
Mhm.
it's easier.
Yeah.
So like I see our recommendations, but there's no references. Because I feel like I could also help sift through it, and it'll be easier to just look at the references and be like, okay, is it the same thing or not, or is
Mhm.
it like completely different? But yeah, I think it is a quick turnaround, but I have full confidence in us. This is a good group.
All right.
Um,
Hey, real quick, we have
yeah.
like 6 minutes before people have to jet. Could we just do a quick review of the deliverables again, just to double check that we are on track with what is to be submitted?
Yes, for deliverables, do you mean like the asynchronous work that we're doing?
No,
Or
the actual description. Like I said, I'm driving, so
oh,
I don't
okay,
have it in
yeah.
front of me.
Yeah, no
But if
worries.
yeah, if you could say like, okay, what is it that we were being asked to do again?
Hmm. It said, what we have in our notes is that we have to do a written handout. It shouldn't be more than 2 pages. We have the ability to choose the format of the handout. However, at minimum, the handout should include 6 to 8 clear, actionable recommendations for practice to
Okay,
support both the learning and motivation of students.
okay.
It has to show an alignment between the data and your chosen course concepts, frameworks, or theories. And that's, I think, what we're talking about, having references and connecting it to like the frameworks. That's one
Real quick,
thing. And
real
then the
quick, real quick. You said the middle part of that was to make sure that our recommendations are connected to the data.
yes, it says show alignment between the data and your chosen course
Cool.
concepts, frameworks, or theories.
Okay, so this is the part, right? This is the part where we're saying we recommend this thing based on what we're seeing and interpreting in the data, and also the theory that's associated in the reading. So just again, back to the way that we're taking notes. If you have a recommendation, please connect it to interpretation of the data and a theory in the reading, because that'll make it easier to us to do the sifting if we're saying, okay, you're saying this thing because of this thing and this other thing, right? Like, does that make sense to everybody?
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm missing. I know I have recommendations that are connected to like the course concepts. I even put like a framework kind of subheading. I
Yeah.
put references and page numbers. I think what I'm missing is that data connection. So I'll make sure to go
Okay.
back in there and put like I'm recommending this based on this data point.
Perfect. And
Okay.
I could do mine a little bit cleaner because I think there's
Okay.
a element of mine that I do have that, but I could call it more explicitly out. Like I recommend this thing based on what we're seeing in this data, and then it's supported by this theory. I think I'm gonna clean that up a little bit on my end
Okay.
because I think that will like, and then because it's 6 to 8, I love this concept or this idea that Ernest brought up. We have leadership. So it's like leadership has two things that we could do for leadership. Students, we could do two things for students, and then staff, right? We could do two things for staff, or
Mhm.
and advisors. That's another two. So that there's your 8, right? Like if we just focus on 2 recommendations per group of stakeholders, I think we would get there, right? And so as you're thinking through, think about those 4 stakeholders and what part sticks out to you that you can add in your recommendation.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Luis. Oh, sorry, go ahead,
Yep.
Sol.
No, I just said sounds good.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
actually added those notes, Luis, to that tab, y'all, the recommendations for handouts.
Yeah.
I put provide action items depending on the audience, and then I put a bullet point and I said, I think you mentioned advisors, leadership, staff, and faculty.
And
Is
students.
that,
Yeah.
oh, am I missing one? Oh, I
Uh,
put staff. It should be
Leadership,
students.
students,
My
and
bad.
faculty.
My
okay.
bad.
Yeah.
And then I just put 2 per stakeholder. That's what I put. So I wrote down what you shared. Um, cool. By when should we have this all completed, y'all? By when do y'all think? I
I
know all
think
of
what
us have to.
Salpy said that she could have hers up by tomorrow. I think you said, Salpy.
Yeah, I already added, like I will just add the references. Like I will for sure be done by tomorrow.
Let's just make it a tomorrow deadline type of thing to
Yeah,
everybody. Go back, revise whatever you're
sounds
doing,
good.
right?
Yeah.
Because then that gives like I know and I remember like how it gets uploaded, but like once everybody's content is in, then it becomes an easier task for the Notebook LM to be able to like sift through our answers to say this is what y'all are saying.
And I remember she said on Thursday she will give us time during class to work on it, right? And to work in the group. Didn't she
Yeah,
mention that last class?
exactly. She's going to give us time on Thursday.
Yeah.
That's why if we have it done on Tuesday, then we'll
Yeah,
be able to look at it on Thursday.
sounds good.
Yeah, and then Luis, to your other deliverable is the presentation. That's the second part. So the presentation, it says it should be no longer than 10 minutes. And
Cool.
then following the presentation, you will have a 5-minute Q&A session.
I
So there's a
think if
presentation.
yeah, I think if we can get by Thursday, we can look at what is generated by Notebook LM, like what is the thing, right? The handout looking like. On Thursday, we can then start talking about that presentation. Be like, how do we want to present this?
Sounds good.
Yep.
Oh, that was
Right.
Yeah, we're like this strategic meeting.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. The best meetings are 30-minute meetings because you
I
have to
know.
make it happen.
Yes, yes. I had the minutes like this could have been an email. No, but we like this couldn't have not been an email. So I'm
No,
glad we're all on
this
the
No,
is
same
way
page.
easier. Efficient, straight to the point.
Yes.
cool, cool,
Great.
y'all. Those
All right.
6:30 leaves. It's your time. So thank you.
Thank you. Drive safe.
All right,
Drive
y'all.
safe.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.